Good afternoon, everybody. All righty. I think I know everybody's name that's on here, so good to see all of y'all again. We will be recording this presentation to post on our YouTube channel. So if y'all have any questions or want to refer back to it, then that will be possible. So I am just going to go ahead and get started with our final presentation as a part of our spring Making Sense of Sense series. Some housekeeping first, just like normal, all of our calls are going to be remain muted throughout the presentation. If you have any questions, please put them in our chat box and I will review them. And at the end, I will answer any questions that y'all have. Of course, my name is Brooke. I'm a program coordinator here with Alzheimer Services. And just a little bit about me. I've worked in this industry a little over 10 years now. And in all of the different aspects that I've worked, I've always had a component of my roles that was assisting families in finding resources that could support them in whatever way. And so I've become a bit of an expert at finding things around that are free and accessible to dementia caregivers. And so this is a lot of that knowledge in one place that is updated to this, as of this week. So it's always been one of my favorite parts of my job. So I enjoy doing this presentation to share all of that knowledge with y'all. And to, in the hopes that all of these different resources help in some active way and help add more people to your village and help the difficult process of dementia caregiving and just make it a little bit easier for you. This presentation contains a lot of different information. I do just want to caveat that not every bit of this information will apply to every person that watches it. Some of these bits of information are just for people within certain parishes or just for those that have a specific type of a dementia diagnosis. So, even though I'm going to be talking quite a lot about a lot of different things, just take note with what applies to you. And then if you have any further questions about it, we are always here at Alzheimer Services and happy to review something or repeat it or connect you with a particular resource should you need it. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started with the presentation. So you hear the phrase sometimes, it takes a village, or that Alzheimer's disease is a type of disease that impacts an entire family. That obviously is quite true from my experience. And so because it impacts so many people and so many people locally to us, it behooves you a little bit to find someone that feels alone in this journey or, doesn't know what next step to take or doesn't know where to go to find that support, even though so many people local to us are experiencing challenges because of dementia. So this whole presentation is about creating a village around you. Of course, people and friends and family are your village, but these are resources that you can add to that arsenal for you that may prompt you into what type of help you may need and just may not have considered, and can just add more available programs to you and just have you recognize that they're available should you want them. And then at the very end of this presentation, even though I'm going to be mentioning a lot of different things, I know for sure that I'm missing some. So at the end of the presentation or throughout, if it just jogs in your memory, something that I'm missing, go ahead and type it in the chat, and then I'll read it out to everybody. That can only help, add further resources for the folks on this call and who will be watching it in the future. Of course, I just want to also say that Alzheimer Services is here and happy to be a part of your village. If you're unfamiliar with our nonprofit, we've been around for 43 years, and I'm going to go through a lot of our programs that we have here in a more specific way, but that's what we're here for, is our 10 parish area right around the greater Baton Rouge region. And we're always here to support in every part of the dementia journey. So whenever I refer to a village, like I just said, I'm referring to the supportive systems that you situate around you to help you feel less alone, to help you feel more capable, either as a person diagnosed with dementia and planning for your future, or help you feel more capable as a caregiver, caring for your loved one, how you can situate around you, your environment, to make the daily task of dementia caregiving a little bit less difficult. Friends and families, churches, support organizations like us are crucial to, having a space that you can lean on to where you don't feel like you're doing it alone. So these are just some of the pieces of our village that I'm going to talk about. The Council on Aging, they have one in each of our 10 parishes that we service. So I'm going to kind of go through each of those individually and what programs they provide. Capital Area Agency on Aging, some free education resources, some caregiver respite resources, mental and emotional support, medical support, financial support, and then at the very end, some free fun stuff to do. So like I just said, Alzheimer Services, we service a 10 parish area. So I'm going to go through each of those. Each has their own Council on Aging with their own phone number and their own resources that they provide depending on their, amount of people within their service area, funding within their service area. So maybe just make note of which parish you live in, or if your loved one lives in a different parish from you, making note of which one that is, and that's the Council on Aging that you would reach out to for their services. All of the Council on Aging services are free for us to use. You pay for them with your tax dollars. It's available for anybody that is over 60 years old that lives within that parish. And the services within the different Council on Aging's does change depending on what funding is going on, or if they've reached their funding for a certain program by the end of the year, then they'll halt it till the next year, whatever. So always just calling to see exactly what is available at that very time. I updated all of these as of last week. So these are all quite up to date, should you, be interested in some of these resources that I'm going to talk about right now. So first up, we have East Baton Rouge Council on Aging. You'll see that all of these Council on Agings have senior activity centers or meal sites. Those are meeting spaces all around that parish that they host daily lunches. They have full activity calendars that include things like games, crafts, wellness expos, and seasonal parties. Specifically for East Baton Rouge, they for homebound participants, they offer meal delivery meals, which they call Meals on Wheels, and also incontinence supplies. They have a food pantry, and also the ability to assist with utility bills. You'll see that I paid special attention to transportation to activity centers here. I also wanted to mention that within East Baton Rouge, our new Charlie's Place 3 will be in Baker. We are actually going to be partnering with the City of Baker and East Baton Rouge Council on Aging for our Charlie's Place 3 location. So if you live in East Baton Rouge Parish, you're interested in Charlie's Place 3 or interested in East Baton Rouge Council on Aging services, definitely just give them a call, see where you can start, see what programs they have that can benefit you. Next up is Ascension Council on Aging. We're a big fan of them over there. We have TLCs over there sometimes, and they're always so fun to work with over there. They similarly have a activity center, home delivery meals. They can assist with Medicaid enrollment, utility bill assistance. They can provide transportation not only to their activity centers, but also doctor's appointments, all within Ascension Parish. They have a telephone check-in system, and they can help with acquiring medical equipment like wheelchairs or walkers, and an emergency button medic alert system. And some of these council on agings provide housekeeping and personal care assistance services. Ascension Parish is one of those. So you just call them, get on their list, and see how that extra support can help you and your loved one. Next up is West Baton Rouge Council on Aging. They have some similar programs like the Activity Center, transportation, not only within West Baton Rouge, but they can also bring you to East Baton Rouge for those doctor's appointments, telephone check-in, utility assistance, light housekeeping, and then they also can provide a box fan for these hot months that we have coming up. You just got to call and ask them. Moving on to East Feliciana. That is, I'll let you take a peek at, some of these things too. One neat thing to mention about this Council on Aging is they will drive you to doctor's appointments, even to West Feliciana, East Baton Rouge. I'm from this parish, so I understand how much of a hike it is sometimes to get to Baton Rouge for just a simple doctor's appointment. So if you need that extra support to do that, that's really neat that they can support with that. West Feliciana, they have a nutrition and exercise program that they're very proud of over there, that they have at their St. Francisville Activity Center. A lot of these activity centers host different wellness programs throughout the month. And so they usually have like a calendar of events that you can get from the Council on Aging and see what's going on at each different activity center, so that if you see a program or a craft or something that you're interested in, you just make sure that you go by the activity center that day. A cool thing that West Feliciana does is they have a coupon system for their farmers markets as well. So that is something neat that you don't always see in these Council on Aging, so wanted to highlight that. Point Capee, one thing to note with them is they have a really cool caregiver respite program. Definitely encourage you to call them about that. That is something unique to their parish. They also do things like personal care services, homemaking services, medication management. And then St. Helena has some of those same programs that we have been talking about. Another thing to notice with St. Helena, which, from where I'm sitting in Baton Rouge today, it seems like a hike to get to there. They help with transportation to Tangipahoa Parish as well. So if you live there and have doctor's appointments in Hammond, they can help with that transportation, which is, I think, a very needed and important resource that they have. For Livingston Council on Aging, they have something really cool that is a yearly home repair allowance. So, as you're living, you inevitably need to fix up your home in some way. And so they can support with that. They have housekeeping services, personal care services. We talk a lot here about caregiver respite and ways to support yourself so that you don't feel burnt out as a caregiver, which inevitably will happen. And so having just extra support in things like this that are free, that we already pay for with our taxes, utilizing those can just only benefit us and our loved ones. And then second to last, we have Assumption Council on Aging. They have some programs that we've been seeing: homemaking services, having someone come in and help with your laundry, even dusting, cleaning out your pantry, making sure that all of the foods in your loved one's fridge aren't expired, things like that. Just take a little bit of time, and it could be helpful to have extra set of hands supporting you with those. And then lastly, we have the Iberville Council on Aging. We go to their Plaquemine location quite a lot. I've been there the last few years for memory screenings. They have a really great group of people there. So they do kind of those same things. But I hope you learned a little bit something new about Council on Aging. If you're 60 plus, there's definitely stuff to look into there to support you. Moving on to Capital Area Agency on Aging. This is a government program that serves 22 parishes within Louisiana. Our 10 parishes are within that. So if you're within our service area, you also receive these services. And what it is a group that serves as an advocate and provides leadership on behalf of the older adults within this service area within our state. So I grabbed this list of their different programs through their website. So definitely something to look into if you needed legal aid, if you are an older adult that would like to re-enter the workforce, different things like that. They have a lot of different support, Medicare, counseling, all of those different things to just help assist in living independently as long as possible in your own home and community, just as much as possible. These resources are available to you. So wanted to note that as well. Another government run system within our local community is the Governor's Office of Elderly Affairs. One of the programs that they run is the Louisiana Ombudsman Program. If you've never heard of an ombudsman and you have a loved one that lives within a care community, so a nursing home, residential care home, assisted living home, this person, our local one, is Mavis Lee. Her purpose is to investigate and resolve any complaints made by someone that lives within a care community or their loved ones on behalf of that resident of the care community. So I have her contact information here. Should your loved one live within a local care facility, it is good just to have their number in case you needed to move along for some resolution within a complaint that you have. Some other things that are addressed by the Office of Elderly Affairs is home and community-based services, which are Medicaid waiver programs that allow for either professional caregivers within a person's home or adult day centers. I'm going to talk about these in a little while, but PACE, the center, are just two within our area that are covered by some of these programs. And then, of course, elderly protective services, you'll hear also referenced as EPS sometimes. That is a group of people through this office that investigate reports made for older adults 60 and over that are at risk for abuse, neglect, exploitation, extortion. So think scams, money scams, someone that can be taken advantage of due to their vulnerable state as someone with dementia and possibly have less rational decision making. We utilize this service a lot just to have an extra set of eyes on a particular vulnerable person, especially if that person is living alone. And then next up, we're going to dive into education. I'm going to talk about a lot of different education that is available to you here as a dementia caregiver. I tell people all the time, especially if they don't have experience caregiving for another adult, it doesn't always come naturally to you, and you just don't know what you don't know. So instead of, just going, with everything on a whim, there's a lot of free, available, and convenient resources to you to help you make more informed decisions as a caregiver, allow you to learn new strategies as a caregiver, or just better plan for the future and how you can navigate the entire care journey. So I'm going to go through a few of these that we have here from Alzheimer's Services. And then I'm going to talk about other ones locally and nationally that are available to you as well. So we offer from Alzheimer's Services a lot of different education programs. Lunch and Learn is one of those. We just had one last week. We record, like we're recording this one right now, we record and post a lot of these on our YouTube channel. So that's the QR code that's on your screen right now. If you have never looked at our YouTube channel before, or if you want to attend some of our different services that we offer, but can't always get on the Zoom live, this is a great space that you can find those. We have a lot of older presentations that are still very valuable, like redirection techniques, managing public outings. The list goes on and on. Anything that can be relevant to a dementia caregiver in an education sense likely has been addressed on here. If for some reason you don't see a topic that you're really interested in or needing support, we are also always open to suggestions. So if you want a presentation done on a certain thing, you just let us know, and that's our jobs to make it happen. The ADAPT series is another education series that we do that focuses on adaptive approaches to caring for someone with dementia. These presentations are things like adaptive language, adaptive bathing and grooming, adaptive eating habits. All of those are also recorded, and we have 4 more of those coming up later this year with some really great topics. Our Making Sense of Sense program is what you're watching right now. This is a part of that. And that is mainly focused on financial aspects or financially focused things that can be impacted by dementia caregiving. So dementia, a lot of reports show, is the most expensive disease to have in America. It's more expensive than cancer. It's more expensive than heart disease because it is such a long disease sometimes, most of the time. So while, it's stressful enough just to care for somebody mentally, physically, we also have to consider financially. That's just unfortunately a reality that we have to consider. So in situating ourselves better, preparing ourselves better for caregiving for someone, that's the purpose of this series. Risk reduction is a new series that we've just introduced this year that's all about learning ways to lower the chances of developing dementia, or better protecting your brain and situating your brain for trying to reduce your risk to develop dementia. Our next presentation is actually tomorrow in person here at our office. So if you're interested in that, it's all about exercise in reducing your risk for dementia. So if you're interested in that, come join us. Our annual education conference, there's going to be another one early 2026 that will be coming up. We're in the process of scheduling the date, so be on the lookout for a save the date for that. Our 36-hour day book is a book that we like to call the Guide to Caregiving, the How-To Guide to Caregiving. And if you haven't received this book from us yet and you're interested in it, we allow one to each family that we service. And so if you haven't gotten it, I encourage you to do so. Give us a call. We're happy to save you one at our office or mail you one. And that's just a really good guide to walk along, while you walk along the caregiver journey. And then of course I mentioned the YouTube channel. That is that QR code there. Okay, and then another thing I wanted to mention in talking about education, education doesn't always have to be something that you are actively seeking out. You can incorporate this dementia education into places that you're probably already at, such as social media. So these are some dementia educators that I personally follow. I followed a lot of these for years, and they, provide really quality education in spaces that I'm already at, scrolling on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, what have you. You also can probably see some familiar faces and names here because we've had some of them do some of our presentations before. But if you wanted to take a screenshot of this or take a little picture of it, and I encourage you to follow them. And it's an easy way to just learn, new tactics, kind of updates about dementia medication. It's just, following these people, I think, is a great piece to your village. So just wanted to share those with you. Some other great educational resources are some other nonprofits So such as Alzheimer's Association and Alzheimer's Foundation of America, they have really great resources on their websites. They have resource pages, tip sheets, videos on a lot of the basics of dementia caregiving. So think wandering, sundowning, making your home dementia friendly. So those first two bullet points there, and that website link, great to go and just check out for a lot of just easy access education on bits like that. For those that are diagnosed with Lewy body dementia, there is an entire nonprofit built to support you. That is the Lewy Body Dementia Association. Likewise, for frontotemporal degeneration, or FTD, they have an association specifically for excellent free education for those resources. And then the Caregiver Action Network, I wanted to link that website. They have a caregiver toolbox on their website, which essentially is just an educational tool that has a lot of videos and resources that provide resources on topics like the basics of caregiving, juggling a job in caregiving, long distance caregiving. They just have some really good stuff on their website that is free and accessible on their website 24 hours a day. When you're up at 3 a.m. instead of doom scrolling, maybe check out that. Okay, rounding out our educational resources, I also wanted to mention the Meaning and Hope Institute. This is a nonprofit that offers a 10-week discussion series on the book How to Find Hope While Coping with Stress and Grief by Pauline Boss. That is a book that has been recommended to us a number of times, and I've known a number of families that have gone through this discussion series and seem to really enjoy it. It is free for family caregivers. So if you're looking for, not necessarily a support group, but something that is guided in an education sense, but also a supportive sense, that could be something good to check out. And then I wanted to also include the Women's Alzheimer's Movement, which is another nonprofit specific to women. Women make up 2/3 of those who are diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. So definitely a really good space to get a little bit more specific information specifically for women. They have a really, really great video education series on their website called the You and Your Brain series. So think specific things like menopause, or just how a woman's brain ages differently than a man's brain ages. So just interesting things like that. Wanted to bring it to your attention. Okay, so of course, we've kind of talked a good bit about how education is a crucial part of intentional caregiving, but so is the support to the caregiver themselves. Some mental and emotional resources are available to you, of course, through Alzheimer's services. We have a good number of support groups that we host locally. We have 9 different support groups that meet each month. Some are virtual, some are in person. You can find a list of them on our website, and it tells you exactly what dates and where they meet and all that good stuff. And support groups are a great place for you as a current caregiver to meet with other current caregivers to discuss strategies, vent about what your current situation is, and then hear from other people too. So if that is something that you enjoy doing, being in community with other people who are going through a very similar thing, it can be helpful to kind of step outside of your normal circle and go to a very specific circle for those types of lines of communication. So definitely encourage that. Of course, we at the office, myself, Ellen, who's our social worker here, Sherelle, who is another program coordinator, we are always happy to speak with you as well through what we call our helpline system. That is where you can just call our office and talk to us, and we're happy to work through strategies with you, or listen to you, talk to you about other resources that may, provide other ideas of how you're, walking this journey. So helpline system is always available too. We also can refer you to other professionals who specialize in caregiver support. So if you are looking for more one-on-one support for counseling, we also have a list of those who are, longstanding career social workers and counselors who this is their specialty, is working with caregivers, working with people who are dementia caregivers, and we can refer them to you too. One service I like to specifically mention is Family Services of Greater Baton Rouge. This is a local nonprofit that they do counseling services at a sliding scale. So if for some reason your health insurance doesn't cover counseling services and you want them, but you want it to be affordable to you so that it's actually attainable, this would be a really great resource for you. They have a group of counselors and social workers that work there, and then you tell them what you're wanting support with, be it anxiety, be it depression, family dynamics, things like that. They'll direct you to the right person. I also want to talk about the National Council of Dementia Minds. We are very big fans of them. It is a very unique kind of nonprofit, whereas they are an organization that is for people diagnosed with dementia, run by people diagnosed with dementia. So anytime I meet with somebody who is brand newly diagnosed or someone who, has dementia and they just want to talk about their journey, a caregiver support group isn't necessarily the right space for that, but somebody like a support group within Dementia Minds would be the perfect place for that. So definitely want to talk to you about them. They also have a ton of education presentations that they do, advocacy opportunities if you're a person diagnosed with dementia and want to advocate and break the stigma that comes along with that diagnosis. Great opportunities from there. And then lastly, I want to mention the nonprofit Lorenzo's House. This is a nonprofit specific to younger onset dementia. They have a lot of different programs within this organization, but I wanted to call attention to the Care Partners Connection. If you are a caregiver for someone with younger onset, so think, 55, 60 and under, 65 and under, this organization could be a good benefit to you. Continuing on with some mental and emotional support, Teepa Snow, I'm sure a lot of us know who she is. She's a fantastic dementia educator. She started this nonprofit called The Positive Approach to Care. They do free consulting services, a 30-minute consultation with one of her PAC certified consultants, where you can talk about how you're doing with care, how you're managing it. They can give you some ideas of how possibly can manage care differently, but that is a free service that they provide through their nonprofit. So you can find that from that website there. I also wanted to bring special attention to LGBTQ+ older adults. In 2023, the Alzheimer's Association and SAGE, which is Advocacy and Services for LGBTQ+ Elders, did an issues brief for LGBTQ+ older adults and dementia specifically. This brief highlighted a lot of unique challenges that this specific population faces, such as 34% of those folks live alone. And then nearly 1/3 of LGBTQ+ older adults face lower access to care in a lot of ways and health disparities in that way. So for those reasons and more, we maintain specific resources for this population within our resource library. A local support would be No Age, which is the New Orleans Advocates for LGBTQ+ Elders. That's their website there. And then, of course, SAGE is more of a national nonprofit, but wanted to bring attention to that. Also, still within the realm of mental and emotional support, the Hospice of Baton Rouge has recently opened the retreat at Quarters Lake. this is a community space that's intended to support in processing grief and loss through a lot of different ways, through education, through support groups. We, as a team at Alzheimer Services, just toured there last week, and it's beautiful there. It is right off of SN. It feels like you're stepping into, someplace that's not right next to the interstate over there. So if you are processing any type of grief, any type of loss, they have some really great resources there that are free, and anybody in our area can go there and access that. So definitely encourage you to look into that. Through that same topic of grief and loss, we have a support feelings and kind of discuss the passing of your loved one and how you're moving through that, and how what to do next, and just finding support with other former dementia caregivers as well. So we have that here. You can find more information about that on our website. Okay, I think I'm back. Do you want to go tech? Yeah. Sorry, guys, technical issues. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see.
You're good, Brooke. We can see you now.
Perfect. Just making sure everybody's paying attention. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can see it now.
Okay, perfect, perfect. We're just, making sure everybody's paying attention.
And Brooke, it broke up just a tiny bit right as you were talking about end of life doula and SIP and support. So if you wanted to even reiterate those, that might be helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. So just briefly, SIP and Support is a group that meets here at Alzheimer's Services for former dementia caregivers. If you wanted a place to process your grief and talk about, moving from that experience and moving through that experience of loss and grief of a loved one that has had dementia, that is a great space for that, for former caregivers. And then end of life doula services is a service that we provide here, that I help provide as a trained ELDA end of life doula. And essentially, it's a non-medical person that supports in your care team and with your family, and either just talking about death, talking about how you would prepare in making informed decisions, having a supportive environment, and at the very least just allows you a space and an opportunity to speak openly and frankly about dying with a supportive person that is comfortable in that conversation. So also wanted to mention those resources. All righty, moving on for some medical support. Of course, we all probably have our regular medical team that we use in this dementia journey, which is like our primary care physician, neurologist, things like that. And I just wanted to provide some of these other definitions of some of these other resources that could also be added to your team. We do have in Baton Rouge, to my knowledge, only one in-home care primary care physician, and that would be through Home Medica. Wanted to mention that in case that is a better option or resource for you, if you would prefer to just have your doctor's appointments inside your home. Sage Outpatient is a local rehabilitation hospital that has a really great day neuro program. That is a program that is catered to the person that would attend, and they treat holistically through a lot of different types of therapies like speech therapy, occupational therapy, physical therapy, and then they also have an increased focus on family involvement, home safety, family training, and education. So this program will help someone who is, earlier on within their diagnosis, stay independent longer, stay at home, and safely within their home longer. Some other medical services that you probably hear of often are things like home health, which is different types of therapies. This is so beneficial for folks within their dementia journey. If you are having frequent falls, if you're having trouble swallowing, if you're experiencing a new piece of equipment within your home, like getting in and out of the shower with a new piece of equipment or anything like that. If you need extra support of learning how to physically move around your home or how to do certain tasks within your home, help with balance, things like that, home health could definitely be an option for you, and that would be referred to you by your doctor. And then likewise, hospice is a medical service that is available and utilized by many people that have dementia. There's a lot of different misconceptions that come along with hospice. We actually just did a lunch and learn on this last week with a really great hospice social worker. And if you're interested in learning more about hospice and also palliative care, which is the step kind of in between home health and hospice, that lunch and learn is up on our YouTube channel. Highly encourage you to watch that to just learn about all of the benefits and kind of break some of those myths that you might think of whenever you think of these programs. And then lastly, I wanted to mention the Senior RX program that is available, and it helps if you just have some really expensive prescription drugs that may not be covered by your insurance. This program can help with that. Next up, I'm going to talk about caregiver respite. We have respite reimbursement, which is a program that we offer here through Alzheimer Services that can help reimburse the cost if you hire a sitter or a professional caregiver to come into the home to help with your loved one. It can help reimburse up to $1,000 a year worth of those costs. So if you're not currently using that program and you think that you may be interested in it, please give us a call. We're happy to connect you with that. Another bit for caregiver respite is Charlie's Place. Charlie's Place, we now are going to have 3 of them, one in Baker, one here in Baton Rouge, and then one in Gonzales. That is the only place in our area that is specific for people diagnosed with dementia to have a day. We're open from 9 to 3, and normally it costs $65 a day for you to come there, but we do have scholarships. No one ever is turned away due to cost to attend Charlie's Place. So if that's something you just want more information on, or want to see if it possibly could be an option for you and your loved one, definitely give us a call. We're happy to talk to you about it. Also wanted to mention again those Medicaid services through home and community-based services, PACE and the center, or receiving care within the home through the Community Choices Waiver. Definitely all things to consider. That's the website right there if you wanted to look more into that. A small reminder about VA, if you are a veteran, definitely looking into what benefits you could qualify for. If you have questions about how to go about that, we know of some really great experts and have a veteran services list here that we can send to you. And then lastly, another nonprofit that I want to talk about is Hilarity for Charity. They have some different grant programs within their charity that you can look at. Also, just speaking about money, I wanted to briefly mention our what was mentioned in last week's Making Sense of Sense presentation by Kimberly Chapman is a really good local resource for free financial counseling, which is done through Neighbors Federal Credit Union. You can look more at that through this QR code that we have here. And if you have questions about it, she actually went pretty in depth into it in last week's presentation, which is up on YouTube. But essentially, if you want support creating a budget for your own family or figuring out how to manage someone else's finances, such as your loved one with dementia, this would be a really great space that you can meet in person or virtually with a financial counselor to go through that. So also wanted to encourage that as well, should you find yourself wanting that extra support. Now some more financial resources that are specific to certain types of folks. So if your loved one does have an FTD diagnosis, they have some different grants available through that AFTD Foundation. Parkinson's as well. The Parkinson's Wellness Fund can provide funding for different things like medical equipment, upgrades to your home, like if you needed a shower, something ramp, things like that. Wanted to mention that. And then lastly, if you are a client or patient within a Medicis, so a Medicis hospice, a Medicis home health, they have some different grant options there through just by being a patient there. So wanted to mention that if you already are, worth it to look into. And then also just mentioning one more time, veteran services. If you needed some support there, I can send you the list of different folks that we know, are good at kind of walking you through the process of how you would apply for that, what you need. We speak with a lot of families that in the beginning of the dementia journey, if you don't have all of the legal protection set up and how you can best care for your loved one, we normally would recommend an elder law attorney. So we have a lot of different recommendations for legal services for things like long-term care planning, how to apply for Medicaid. Medicaid is down the road, but you want to situate yourself and your assets to where it can work better for you and just work smarter, not harder within that area. So we also can connect you with a lot of different legal services here as well. And then this is my last few little slides all about free fun stuff. There's a lot of really fun resources in our area. And I want you to keep in mind that all of these things that I'm about to talk about are definitely possible for you to attend with your loved one with dementia or for you to do on your own with your new group of pals that you meet through one of our support groups. Allowing yourself an opportunity to have a break during the day. If your loved one is coming to Charlie's place, while it would be really nice to just go home and sit in silence, it could also be nice to get out and go to a knitting club or a group at Ollie to learn a new skill or to, learn about World War I, if that's what you're into. So I'm going to briefly go through these, but encourage you to have some fun as well. So Breck Park System has a really robust activity program that they do. This is the website that you would go to. They have so much stuff. They have dancing, they have exercise classes, they have crafts, they have meetups at some of the parks that you go on nature walks and things like that. So that's for anybody 55 plus. I encourage you, if you already have different organizations that you include in your village, such as a church, reaching out and seeing within that church community, do they have groups that you may be interested in? A lot of different churches host, like these two that I have mentioned here, they host all different types of fun activities. I'm a big fan of Ollie, which is the institute that's through LSU or at LSU that is for folks who are 50 and up who are lifelong learners. So if that is how you would classify yourself, and enjoy spending time with others with similar interests, they go on trips, they do different crafts, they learn all sorts of stuff. I know a few former caregivers and current caregivers who attend these groups and they really enjoy it. So want to mention that there is a small cost for that, but it's nothing exorbitant. I also want to encourage you to look at your local library. All of our service area has really great local libraries that also have really happening events calendars. They always have stuff going on, whether that be local authors coming in or different crafts or explorations of different things within that's hosted at different libraries. But you could also rent and borrow a whole bunch of stuff from your local library, like telescopes or cookbooks or puzzles. I know some even have different crafting supplies that you can borrow from the library. So just something to consider if we haven't, thought of that for some free fun. Also, I want to mention First Free Sunday. That's our next first Sunday is going to come up in another couple of weeks, but maybe you can start planning now. This is a list of the different parks and museums within our service, local service area that does free tickets on the first free Sunday. So if you have been wanting to go to the LSU Museum of Art, which we go to with Arts and Alzheimer sometimes, it could be a fun time to go with your loved one, get a free ticket and get out the house, have some fun. And I also wanted to mention the sensory park that is at the Independence Park Botanical Gardens. That's right next to the main library. That's a really great space there. The AFA, which is the Alzheimer's Foundation of America, they have an entire website called the Teal Room that has a lot of virtual therapeutic activities that you can access whenever you want. So if it's one of those nights that your loved one is up at 2 a.m. thinking it's time to party, you can pop on a video there, maybe do some laughter yoga, maybe do some watercolor painting or have a discussion. Lots of good ideas that are, at your fingertips wherever you are. And then lastly, of course, I have to shout out all of the fun stuff that we do at Alzheimer Services. We're always up to something over here. We're always having stuff pop up through our calendar of events, such as our TLCs, Arts and Alzheimer's, Fall Fest. We do so many fun things here. So if you're not on our email list of seeing what's going on, definitely hop on that. But we're always up to stuff over here, having a good time. And so I hope that you learned something from this, presentation. There are even many more things that I didn't even include in here that are available to support you, to encourage you, to benefit you, and to just make our circumstances that we have as dementia caregivers a little bit brighter, a little bit easier, to where you can lean on other people around you that are already there, ready to support you. And it just takes that step for you to reach out and to know that it's there and to utilize it. So now I'm going to stop talking. I'll kind of open up the chat here to where if you have any questions or if I missed a certain resource, please feel free to share that and we can talk about, all of those good things. So let me pull up the chat. Sorry, guys, I see the comments now of of whenever I had my brief tech issue. Okay. Do all of the council on agings have a loan closet? I believe most of them do, definitely not all of them. Space is always limited for, the loan closet, definitely, but definitely worth it to just reach out. I know here a lot of if we receive a donation, we usually donate it to St. Vincent de Paul. So if you're in the East Baton Rouge area, definitely check out St. Vincent de Paul for any type of medical equipment that may have been donated. But definitely worth a call to your local council on aging. They're very friendly. At every single one that I've ever talked to, they're always friendly and they, are happy to help in any way. We definitely have a few more minutes if y'all have any other questions. But I so appreciate y'all joining us today. I obviously can talk quite a long time about all of this stuff, and kind of just scratch the surface on things that are available in our area. But we have a full resource library here at our office on North Boulevard. So if some of the things I talked about today you were interested in or are looking for a little bit more info on something, come on by. We're happy to have you at our office here, and we can provide you a lot of physical copies of things, or can direct you to a resource that you're looking for. But I'm so glad that y'all were able to join us today. If you have any other questions or need something in the future, I'm going to put our phone number, our office phone number in the chat now. And you're always welcome to give us a call. And I will, I guess, go ahead and end it now unless anybody needs anything else or has any questions. But if not, please feel free to give us a call. We're always happy to help y'all. Thank y'all so much for attending.